they thought they just might have escaped it. And by they, I mean the people who came to Sacramento in the first part of the gold rush. And it was the disease known to all that terrified everyone for its swift ferocity, the disease of cholera, that it was an intestinal disease, and it could take someone seemingly healthy in early morning, and by nightfall that person would have died of the agonizing death of wasting away. Those traveling overland thought perhaps the Sierra, the altitude and the coldness was keeping cholera at bay. And those who came by ship, well, even though they saw cholera on ship and in ports, something was keeping it away. Sacramento was founded in January of 1849, incorporated January of 1850. Another 10 months go by. Sacramentans are living in relative security and confidence that the disease, cholera, was no more to be seen, and then it came with terrible swiftness in October of 1850. As you might expect, people from all walks of life came to Sacramento in search of fortune, and that included doctors. And one of those was Dr. Thomas Logan, who alerted the City Council on October 21st of 7 cases of cholera. We know from accounts that cholera is first reported October 20th, 1850. And at first the City Council tried to tamp down the information, but Dr. Logan persisted, and finally the city began to take action. But by then the disease had started to spread fast. About 800 people died of the disease in less than a month. And that's about 10% of the city's population, and that is if you count that Sacramento City was a boom town of about 10,000 inhabitants, but 7,000 of them fled in fear of this disease, fled for the foothills, even in the chilly temperatures that they might face in the foothills. Once the disease abated, then they came back, the city was back up to 10,000 people. And what of those 800 victims? Their bodies were buried at New Helvetia Cemetery at 31st and J Streets, where Miwok Middle School is now. In 1956, their bodies were reinterred to what is now called the Old City Cemetery at Broadway and Riverside. Dr. Logan was one of only 7 of the about 24 doctors who survived while they were treating the victims of cholera. Dr. Logan was looking for a source of diseases, and he thought that it was something in the air. Germ theory was really only a germ of an idea at the time, and nobody really understood it. So he began taking measurements of the weather, temperature, conditions, and by accident became the first meteorologist west of the Mississippi. He was also tracking mortality data, and he became the first epidemiologist in California. Another doctor, John Morse, the first editor of the Sacramento Daily Union newspaper, was a self-styled historian. He survived the cholera epidemic treating patients. He recorded that the cholera cases came in the form of one person who came off the New World steamboat that was bringing news of California's statehood to Sacramento. New examination of the information shows that that person who was found with cholera dying on the levee was here a day before the New World arrived. And there really wasn't any patient zero in the cholera epidemic. Dr. Logan's information indicates that the disease was coming from many different sources, and that helped the disease proliferate.